Hey, hey, it's Yehudit Steinberg here once again for another episode of the Jewish Fusion Wedding Talk Show. And today's topic, why am I passionate about fusion weddings? So today's going to be a little bit different format than I have been doing before, because I'm really going to tell you a little bit about me and why I do this work. So many of people, they ask me this question, especially my couples: why are you interested in planning this specific type of wedding, the diversity type of wedding? So we'll get into that today. So I want to welcome you again to another episode of the Jewish Fusion Wedding Talk Show, where we are going live every weekday in June to share wedding planning tips and tricks that I have learned over the past 18 years of working with over 300 different couples that have been planning their wedding, and they are from different backgrounds and different traditions. And that they wanted to incorporate into the wedding without offending grandma. That was a lot of the concern. So I want to let you know that you don't necessarily have to be Jewish to get good information about how to plan your diversity wedding. However, I am going to use Jewish examples, and you can incorporate that into any different type of wedding. So over the past couple of days, I've been really excited about some of you, like Diana Ringer and several other folks that have been sharing this broadcast out, because if you know somebody that's planning their wedding, maybe they're planning a wedding in 2020 and they're just getting started and they're thinking about, oh, I don't know where to start. We're going to have some of the basic tips that you want to think about before you start planning your wedding. Or if you happen to be somebody or know somebody that is getting married this summer and their ceremony hasn't been finished because it's been kind of a pain point for them and they've done everything else, but now what do I do about the ceremony? This broadcast can help them and give them some ideas, and also they can get in touch with me and I can help them personally one-to-one get through that hurdle very quickly. So, okay, I'm gonna look at my notes a little bit, folks, and introduce myself again in case you don't know who I am. My name is Yehudit Steinberg, and I'm the founder of Jewish Interfaith Wedding Network. Back in 2003, we started this online network. It's an online resource for Jewish interfaith couples, families, affiliate organizations, and wedding event professionals. I'm also the producer host at Think Grow Love Media, a digital production studio located in Las Cruces, New Mexico, recently. And prior to that, for many years, located in the San Francisco area. And I offer courses, workshops, and live video training to online and also to rural and urban communities. So why am I passionate about planning fusion style weddings. People ask me all the time, how did you get started doing this work? And why do you continue to do it? Well, frankly, I believe that it chose me. And it's really at the core of my life's work. I started at a very early age with curiosity about different, actually the first was really different folk costumes from the foreign doll collection. We called it foreign doll collection, so you can tell it's been a long time ago. This was back in the 50s. And I really was fascinated with the different types of folk costumes that a lot of them were used with different dance and music. And so I really have been fascinated since I was a very young child. The other thing that really stood out for me when I just learned how to read was this picture book. Well, it wasn't just a picture book. It was a Time Life book on religions of the world. And it had these big pictures of different rituals and customs from the major religions around the world. And I used to sit and read this and be so fascinated. At the time I was 7 years old, my grandmother had given me this as a Hanukkah present. And I just absorbed it. And I still actually have a copy of that book, which it came out in we would be talking about the mid to later 50s. You know, and at that time in history, we didn't have internet. We didn't even have a princess phone back then. And so my play was mainly exploring the woods in my backyard. I had a fantastic piece. I was brought up on a piece of property that had a couple of acres of woodlands in the back. And I would go back and have picnics. I would look at the streams. There was some old foundation of a mansion or whatever. I grew up in a town called Moorestown, New Jersey, where George Washington had slept. So some of these ruins that I was exploring as a kid dated back to the Revolutionary War. So let's just take a moment before I delve too much further into me to really give you a good definition of what I call Jewish fusion weddings. So a fusion wedding is one that blends two or more different cultures and or religions from each of the couple that are getting married. So we have two families with different backgrounds, and they're coming together to celebrate a wedding. And typically, these weddings are planned where there might be one ceremony and one event, or there's other types where they may be carried out with two separate events and two distinct weddings. Now, if you're interested in the different types of ceremonies that comprise fusion weddings, then listen to yesterday, day 2 of this series, because I went into detail about that yesterday. So I've been really passionate about different cultures and religions all of my life. From the time I learned to read and play with my dolls, And as I mentioned, I had a foreign doll collection, which that name tells you that it really was a while ago. And what's happening now in the States here in the past couple of years is really the opposite of diversity. And I really do believe that mixed marriages can help bring more understanding of different beliefs and customs, and actually one wedding at a time can help to bring an understanding, a little more compassion, and eventually peace throughout the world. Because right now in the US, in the country where I live, things have really taken a turn to being very divisive. You're either on the diversity side or you're on another side. So I believe that bringing together and helping couples to plan these types of weddings really is something that is very helpful in the world and can help to bring a little more peace and compassion. So a number of years ago, I was sitting in the coffee shop in Boise, Idaho, with who is now my future husband, but I didn't know it at the time. And we were having a conversation about diversity. And at that time, I had an idea that I wanted to create a diversity day at the convention center in Boise, Idaho. And I was talking with my friend who who at that time worked at Ore-Ida and had also worked with me on another diversity project. And so I was talking with my husband, Rabbi Gershon, and I had mentioned and came up with this slogan. Well, the first thing I said was, tolerance is not enough. And that it's really important to acknowledge our similarities and then celebrate our differences. So that is actually a slogan that has kept me moving forward over the years. And I believe now more than ever, this work is so important, bringing a little more understanding of how we are more similar than different. And our differences are like facets on a diamond. And I do want to put up my little slogan here about acknowledge similarities and celebrate our differences. So, okay, give me a moment here to kind of reconnect here. And so, as I was saying, I really believe that we are more similar than different. And our differences are like facets of a diamond. It is our uniqueness, and through creative planning, we can make meaningful, special moments to showcase our special traditions during these really special life events, especially weddings. The ritual, the dress, the food, the music, the dance, and many other different little details that can really speak to who you are as a couple and who you are as individuals, and actually show the similarities that we have between our different religions and between our different belief systems and between our different cultures. It's just the way that we choose to practice. So I really am, it really, I love being able to help couples be able to discover those differences and help them to decide what they want to bring together, because at the end of the day, it's your wedding. It's not my wedding, but what I do is I kind of facilitate you through a process that I've developed over a number of years, and I call it the Acknowledge Similarity and Celebrate Our Differences process. So I want to give you an example right now. Okay, so let's take an example like vows and rings in your ceremony. There's actually many different ways in which you can exchange rings. And I want to talk a little bit about traditional Jewish practice and the Christian practice. So when we have done a number of different Jewish Christian weddings ceremonies, I've helped to plan and help you write the script. And so in the Christian tradition, the vows are very important. In the Jewish tradition, actually, it's more important to exchange something of value. So let's say, for example, we've done our co-officiated ceremonies. So if we have a co-officiated ceremony, let's say a Catholic priest and a Jewish rabbi, typically the Catholic priest will deliver the vows to the couple. And then when it comes time for the rings, then the rabbi will handle the ring exchange. Now, there's a number of different ways that you can also, there's different vows if you choose to have personal vows. If you also want to, there's a Jewish tradition that actually we've done a number of times where the ring, instead of being put on the ring finger, the ring is put on the pointer finger. And the reason that it was put on the pointer finger in the traditional way in the old days is that you would have the father would come and would inspect the ring to see that it was of value, because it was very important that you exchanged and gave the bride something of value. In modern times, what we've done is we've had them the ring be placed on the pointer finger and then have the bride actually remove the ring and then put it on her ring finger to acknowledge that she accepts this tradition. So you can see that there's different ways in which you can exchange and devise your vows and rings. And it's really unlimited. And we go over that when we're planning a personal and custom ceremony as to how you would want to do that ring exchange. So let me just change this up a bit. Here we go. So as you can see, there are similarities in meaning and bringing that together in ceremony and throughout the celebration. It really adds a depth of beauty and leaves a lasting visual memory and a depth of emotion that is remembered for a lifetime. And it's a creative process. So I really love helping you get into your creative process and moving you through that process to really find what will work for you during your wedding. And that's why I'm very passionate about doing the work that I do. It involves learning a little bit more about who you are, what your background is, your unique perspective, and in today's world, what modern perspective you want to bring to it, what traditions from the past you would like to bring forward and renew and make it your own for the future. Because, really, the traditions that we have in our from the past were never meant to be solid. This is the way it's going to be forever and forever. They were really meant to take a look at what the intentionality is of that act, why you are doing that act. And you need to ask yourself, why am I including this in my wedding, in my ceremony? What does it say about who I am? What does it say about who the person I'm marrying and from my family and my future? What are we going to do as a couple together? And what are some of the individual qualities that we have that we're going to move forward into our life together? So that's that kind of is a wrap for today. And I would like to remind you that you can subscribe to the show. I have a link here, thinkgrowlove.live/plan your fusion wedding. And you can go there and sign up so that you get on the list, you get on the mailing list, and I will send out and let you know what shows are happening and so you don't miss any of these valuable programming that I'm doing over the next couple of weeks in June. And let's see, do you have questions? You can message me on the Jewish Interfaith Wedding Network page at the top right under the cover photo. There is a button, a message me button, and that will take me to Messenger. That will take you to Messenger and will automatically let me know that you have a question, and I will get back to you. I usually get back to you if it's during business hours, Monday through Friday. I usually get back to you within the hour, unless I'm in a meeting or I'm doing something like broadcast or whatever, but I will get back to you within 24 hours. And so I will be here again on Monday. And next week, we will be talking about ceremonies and how to individualize your ceremony. If you are getting married in the next, over the summer, in the fall, and this is an area that you haven't finished yet, it's not off your list and what have you, I can help you. So message me. Stop in on Monday and next week and get the tips and tricks that I have used with numerous couples, hundreds of couples over the past couple of years. So have a great weekend. I'm Yehudit Steinberg, and this is the Jewish Fusion Wedding Show. Take care.